intro. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is supposed to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now, below this video, and hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live. So in a moment, I'm going to be discussing with you what is an LAT relationship, how does it work, and what are the benefits of an LAT. First of all, though, if you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories book. These are real life asexual stories, and all told in neat little chapters. So what is an LAT relationship, and how does it even work? So LAT stands for living apart together. And so an LAT is a living apart together relationship. And what that means is you have a relationship with someone, apart together relationship. And what that means is you have a relationship with someone, like you're in a relationship with them, but you live separately. So years ago in the UK, there was a long time ago in the UK, in a newspaper article, I read that 10% of the UK population are having an LAT, living apart together relationship. And obviously this was not linked in any way to asexuality. So these are, in the main, going to be heterosexual people. So it's common for heterosexuals to have relationships and still not live together by about 10%, which might really shock you, because you might think if people really want, need and like the sex, then they've got to live together for it. But that isn't true in all cases. I worked in retail for a very long time, and in one of the jobs I had, there was a man and woman coming to look for bedroom furniture for each of their individual places, but they came in as a couple. So although you might live separately and have your own places, you can still spend time around the other person's home, like sleeping over in their room with them if you feel comfortable, that in their bed with them if you feel comfortable, that, or in a separate room, like a lounge or a spare room if they've got one. So sometimes this can be really, really beneficial, because it's like having two homes. One that you've got your own home as your base to go to. And this is really good, because if the relationship does fall apart for any reason whatsoever, you've still got your own home to go to. So that's a huge benefit. Also, you can, it means you're responsible for your own rent, your own food, your own bills. And I personally absolutely love that, because I want an LAT, living apart together relationship. Because for me, when I've lived with guys in the past and then I've lived separately from them, I much prefer this living separately. From the romantic point of view, it's nice to live with someone, but for the actual practical point of view and having your own freedom and space, it's much better to have a living apart together relationship. So my ideal scenario would be a guy who was romantically in a relationship with me would come eventually to live near me, but not with me. Like they'd live in a home, a flat or a house around the corner from me, or a few streets away from me, that type of thing. I wouldn't personally like it if you lived the other end of the city, because I've got a lot of bad memories there, because my ex lives at the other end of my city, and I purposely love living down this end, and I adore it, and I adore my flat, And so, what would be the benefits even of a guy coming to live near me? I mean, I live 5 minutes walk from the beautiful, gorgeous quayside in Exeter in Devon in the UK. So basically, the guy who would live near me, if he came to live near me, he would get all the use of the quayside. It has ducks and swans and geese there and some other birds. It has places to eat and drink. It has beautiful, the river Exe runs through it. So they can go walking or cycling or running along there. And it's really, really beautiful. I have literally supermarket diagonally across my road, or two supermarkets diagonally across my road, 15 minutes down the road. Where I live, there's like a little town, there's a major city, and there's like, the quayside, which is like the countryside. So, that's like, and there's a train station 5 minutes from where I live, and another one, like main one, 25 minutes from where I live. So, the guy would be having a great time in terms of public transport, in terms of where he could go out and get some fresh air and chill out. And also there's 2 gyms near where I live as well. So if he's a gym fanatic, he could take his pick of 2 different ones, one being a 24-hour one. So, you know, so there's actually lots of benefits as well, because obviously, like I said, you don't share household bills. And I personally find that better. I'd rather pay for my stuff and the guy pay for his stuff, because personally for me, I have a very expensive food that I have to budget for because of all my special diet requirements, because I've got a lot of food allergies and intolerances. And so, you know, if I have to pay for guy's food on top of my own food, it gets really, really expensive. And then I'm having to cut down on other areas of my life. And I believe everyone in a relationship should be able to buy their own food, pay for their own bills, and then whatever money they've got left over is theirs. They can spend it on leisure, can do what the hell they want with it, you know. I actually think it's better to pay for dates as well, but each pay for yourself on dates, like pay for your food in the cinema. So I'm very much an independent individualist. And, you know, for some people, it's just much more healthier to live separately from someone. I have a disability, well, I have a couple of disabilities. And so for me personally, living on my own, having my own space, having things around me where they're convenient for me, at my height, because I'm short anyway, and in places where I can easily get to and limits my pain, for me, that's much, much better solution, you know. So if you are a person who's got mental health problems or disabilities yourself, you might find it's easier to live separately from the person. Therefore, you know, if you need your alone time, your quiet time, if you're in a lot of pain, you can go and rest on your own place without disturbing the other person. The other person can still go out with their mates, enjoy their life, and you know, have a high quality of life while you're kind of might be in pain and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But also you can help each other out. You know, if one's sick, you can go and help the other one in their house or bring food shopping to them, that type of thing. You don't have to be so restrictive. I mean, I am very, very much of like, I do not want to do washing up, cooking, or cleaning for a person I'm in a relationship with. So if they were to eat around my place, they need to bring their own food and wash up after their own self, because I have a pain condition. Even standing up doing the washing up really hurts me. So for me, it's not beneficial. So, you know, this is one reason why it's really important to live separately for me personally. And I think for some people, other people with mental health difficulties and or physical disabilities, it's a good idea as well. Also, if you're different heights, like my last long-term ex, he was 6'3" and I'm 5'4.5". So his place was designed for a tall person, and I couldn't reach a lot of the shelves in his place, whereas mine is designed for a shorter person. And he used to bang his head on some stuff. So it's kind of like, it's more relevant to you, your lifestyle. For me, you know, like I live a very upside down lifestyle. I mean, at the moment when I'm recording this live, it's 2:25 a.m. in the UK, right? Most people are asleep by then, right? So I kind of live more in the night. I'm more awake at night. I like to do stuff in the night and sleep more in the day. So that's why it really suits me. So if you've got different lifestyles, that's why living apart together relationship can really benefit you both, because you're not going to encroach on the other person's sleep. You know, so for example, if I had a boyfriend and he wanted, you know, he got really tired, he wanted to go to bed at 10:30, he was a person got up early, right? Doesn't mean to say I can't be with him, but it's going to be a lot easier to be in a relationship with him if he's got his own place and is like, oh, it's 10:30, you know, I'm a couple of blocks like round the corner, I'm just going to go home, right? Because I'm going to be up probably till like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, right? And he's going to want to get sleep. And, you know, even if you have separate rooms, you can still end up being noisy with walking up and down to the toilet and getting drinks and food and having kind of like your normal life, but in the middle of the night. So, you know, it really doesn't suit a guy living with me. I mean, I can't have a guy living with me anyway, because I live in a flat that's only suitable for one person. It's a studio flat that's only suitable for me. So that's another benefit. You know, if you love where you live so much and you've got everything you need and want, but you wish to have a partner and it's just you haven't got them, then why give up what makes you happy just for the sake of a relationship, which may or may not turn out right? Right? It's much more healthier and better to have a stable foundation yourself for where you live. Some people get into abusive relationships. I was in those in the past. And what can happen is the relationship can start out really good. The person can seem really nice, kind, caring, your soulmate, lovely. And then you can move in with them and it can be all hell can break loose. And you'd be like, what the hell have I done? And if you've got a place that you really enjoy living at, and it's secure for you and you can pay all the stuff yourself and you can be financially independent, it's much more healthier. Because if you move in with someone, they can start trying to control you with money. and stuff like that, you know. And so it's not a very good idea, you know, if you live with them and it's an abusive relationship, you're financially tied a lot of the time to them. It's really difficult to move out. I was fortunate that I came here when I moved out of the person of living with the person who wasn't good to me, you know. And so, you know, I love this place. You know, personally, I've got everything I need here, um, you know, at my fingertips, apart from I don't have a boyfriend, a life partner that I want, you know, an asexual life partner. But I'm not going to give up everything just for the sake of a guy that may or may not work out. And particularly when I actually prefer living on my own, it's healthier for me to live on my own because of my lifestyle, you know. I mean, I've got, like, I'm at 2:28 and look like my voice is quite energetic. I am a little bit sleepy, but my voice is quite energetic, right? You know, most people are like by now, you know. And sometimes I get, you know, I'm like jumping up and down to music. Well, if my ankle is better, fully recovered, you know, I'm doing dancing to music when my ankle's better, you know. So it's just a lot more convenient. It's a lot more kind of thoughtful for the other person. If you've got a completely different lifestyle, it's good because you're not really changing each other as much. I find you can keep more of your own identity because, you know, if I had a guy that was coming here and wanted to sleep at 10:30, right, and it's like I can't sleep because my normal sleeping time is 4 a.m. till midday. I don't want to be going to sleep at 10:30, and if I was laid beside him, I would be tossing and turning, like, be bored out of my brain. You know, that's not fair to me, and it's not fair to him because I'm going to wake him up, and for me, it's just going to be bored, and I'm going to start resenting the relationship because it's not going to make me happy. I'm not going to be happy with the person, like, just wasting my life, like, not being able to sleep. So it's much more healthier to live separately for some people, right? So when you live separately, you're still meant to be 100% committed to each other. You like have a full-on relationship. When you're apart, you would be messaging the other person. You're probably doing video chats and audio calls. Sometimes you might set up the situation where you do want to see each other for a short period of time every night, or it might be every other night you see them in person, or couple of times a week. In between those times, you still be messaging them. Sometimes you'd be video chatting with them, audio calling them. So it's like they still be with you, even though they're not with you. And you might say, well, what's the point in that? I may as well live with them. But it's very different doing an audio call, video chat was both convenient to you than actually being in a house or together or place together where the person's like in the shower right next door to where your room is and they're getting up early for work and you're still trying to sleep, that type of thing. You know, I've had that in the past. I've had it where I've lived with a guy and he has had the, you know, he's been showering the room next to me, the walls are paper thin and I can hear it and I just can't get back to sleep. Right. And I don't sleep well in the bed next to someone. You know, I get very self-conscious. I need a lot of room for my pain condition, which is fibro. And, you know, for me, it's not comfortable. Romantically, I like the idea, but practically, well, you know, I'm just going to get tired because I can't sleep. So for some people, it really suits a living apart together relationship. Some people like their own friends. They like their own space. They like to be able to do their own creative projects. And if you're in the same place all the time, sometimes you feel stifled. Or maybe, like, for example, if I had a partner and he was watching a load of sport, I have no interest in sport whatsoever. I'm a sports-free zone. I don't watch TV. I only have my TV as like a monitor for Blu-ray films, right, on the Blu-ray channel. I don't watch terrestrial TV at all, right? And so if he was watching loads of sport around mine, I'd be wasting my life away, in my personal opinion, because I could be building a website, I could be doing a blog, you know, this blog to you, I could be writing a book, doing lots of projects. You know, he can do that over his place. So he's something he enjoys, and he's going to enjoy that a lot better if he's on his own with himself enjoying it. Whereas having me kind of look like, oh God, this is so boring. He's going to kind of be maybe worrying about me and how I feel. And, you know, when you live with each other, you even feel even more like, how is the other person feeling and thinking? Whereas if you live separately, you've got some space to think and breathe and live on your own and enjoy your own creative pursuits, your own hobbies, your own interests. So in a lot of ways, it's a lot more healthier, you know, and that's why it's very beneficial, you know. And if two people are different on some things, you can still be in a relationship together successfully because you can go back to your own places and do those things without it actually encroaching on the other person, you know. And, you know, and personally, I don't like people usually coming in my home, but I've got used to YouTubing now, you know, and my best I've got my best asexual friend. I've also got my best friend Andy. He's a mutual friend of ours. He's been coming to look after me while I've had my ankle broke. So he's been coming in my room like twice a week. But I totally trust him. He's into guys anyway, so he's not going to do anything with me. But I totally 100% trust him. It was, it's even strange. I've got used to him being in my room now, but it's kind of like really weird because I wasn't used to it at first, But in general, I don't tend to like people in my home, especially people I don't know. So if you're in a relationship, like your partner can invite their mates around whenever they feel like it. And for me, that's really uncomfortable. I don't like unexpected guests in my home. I don't like people just turning up without me knowing they're coming and knowing what's going on. I like my life organized, systematic a lot of the time, planned, scheduled in advance. I don't like people just showing up out of the blue a lot of the time when I've made my own plans, and it's kind of like, if they're in my home, it kind of feel like it's an invasion of my space at a time when I didn't know. If I ask someone to come to my home, or I welcome them, or I expect them, it's different because I've kind of prepared my head for that and my physical space for that. But if someone just pops in as and when, that feels really uncomfortable to me. It feels like it's in my space, it's my time, it's kind of like intruding on my life and intrusive, so it's kind of like, that's why I've always been, like if I'm living with a guy, I can't stop him having his friends around. That wouldn't be good of me, right? I would prefer it if he gave me advance notice of them coming around, but some guys aren't like that. They just have their mates back whenever they feel like it a lot of the time, And so for me personally, that's going to be more healthy for him, more healthy for me if we live separately. And when you live separately, you should be acting fully committed. So you're not going off with another person in another relationship. You're still in the relationship together. You're still very much a unit, but you just have your own individual space and place, basically. And I think it's a really, really good idea. And it's something I love. I mean, I've lived on my own now for 17 years, 17. I'm too young for that, really. But I'm going to tell you because it was my anniversary of 17 years yesterday on the 27th of September. We've now gone into the next day. So, I've basically looked after myself financially and taken care of myself with paying my own bills and everything for 17 years, which is something to be really proud of, I think. I don't think there's that many women who can say they've lived on their own for that many years. There are some, but I think there are a lot less, So to be able to take care of myself financially, have my own space, have my own place, and maintain and sustain it, even if it isn't the most tiniest place in all of the world, then to me that's something to be really, really proud of, and when you live on your own, you have to be very independent. You have to look after yourself. And I just find it a lot easier when I don't share household bills. When I used to share household bills before, I kind of resented it when, the guy was then going to spending lavish amounts of money on stuff when I was like, say I was doing a job and it was a lot less money than he was on, and I was paying equal amounts of rent to him, but I was really struggling to afford any luxuries for myself or any leisure time or anything like that. To me, that didn't feel good in the relationship. It just felt like, well, he's just using the rent as pocket money, getting using it to pay with his pocket money, basically, because he's getting so much money, and then he's going buying extravagant suits and all this type of thing, whereas I'm struggling. I would rather be in my own place, budget for my own food, so I'm not paying for his as well, pay for all my own bills and stuff and everything. Therefore, anything that's left over is mine. And I don't resent the guy then, because his place, he can do what he wants, pay all his bills, take care of himself. Whatever money's left is his own, and I don't resent that then. But when I lived with the guy before, I really kind of resented that. And it was annoying me because he didn't get a decent bed for us as well, even though I wasn't living with him at that point. And so he'd rather spend money on flashy suits and music and stuff that he doesn't really need, rather than looking after my health and well-being. So that's the only thing, if you do have a living apart together relationship, you do end up really needing to have some stuff that's comfortable for both of you, such as a bed, or maybe you like a sofa together. So you should still be taking the other person into consideration and kind of like treating it like you've got two homes. They're both separate in your main residence. You both got separate main residence, but you also incorporate that person into some decisions in your home, because obviously you're going to have to, like, accommodate their toothpaste, their toothbrush, some of their clothes, their underwear, their hair care. Because if you live in two separate places a lot of the time, and especially if you're not directly near each other, like really close to each other, you are going to find that you need a lot of double amounts of things, like double sets of underwear, double sets of hair dryers, unless the person's got one at their place, right, that you can use. But if say you stay over the other person's place sometimes, so you are sharing a bed or whatever, or staying in their spare room, and then they're using the hairdryer because they're getting ready for work, and you need to get ready for work, you need to bring your own hairdryer. So sometimes you'll be buying two hairdryers, one for their place, one for yours. Two straighteners, one for theirs, one for yours. Two sets of toothpaste, two sets of shampoo, two sets of soaps if you use different shampoos and soaps to them. And so and if you're not cooking for each other, then you'll need to take all your food over to theirs and then take food over to yours. You need spare sets of clothes because if the person does stay over, so you need to make some space for them in your cupboards. If they have different foods to you, because I've got a lot of food allergies, you'll have to make space in your cupboard for their foods as well as your foods. So obviously, you'll be taking bags backwards and forwards, maybe even cases or holders, depending how far you actually live. Because living apart together relationship, you might not just be right in the corner. You might be in another town or city, like long distance. But usually a living apart together relationship is not a long distance relationship. A living apart together relationship is where you're near to each other in the same town or city, but you would just not actually live together, which is different to a long distance relationship when you're living in a completely different city or town, So living apart together relationship is usually where you are in a relatively close proximity in the same town or the same city, but you choose not to live together and live separately, but still have a full on committed, loving, healthy relationship, basically. So I hope you found this video helpful, insightful. I hope I've explained it. And if you've got any comments, queries, or questions, please post them down below. I'd love to know what you think. Have you ever had a living apart together relationship, or is that something you really desire, or something you're in right now, or what do you think of them in general, right? So yeah, pop the comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now. I'll post a new video. And thank you so much for watching. Lots of love. Bye-bye. Bye.